females, we will choose the females, and we will choose the bull and bring them into the lot. And they will spend a couple of days here, probably more like 5 minutes, okay, to be honest. They'll probably spend about 5 minutes right here, and all of that will happen right here in the confines of the lot. Once that is finished, the bull will go back to his pasture, happy with a smile on his face, probably to take a nap. And the female will join her herd. She'll take the walk of shame back to the herd. And everybody, don't even make that face, because you've all been there. Every man has been there and every woman has been there. Don't even lie, okay? Good morning, folks. Lester here, and in this video we're going to talk about bulls, we're going to talk about cows, we're going to talk about little Gary, who's kind of in the middle. We're going to talk about a zigzaggy fence. We're going to talk about mating, mating. And if you don't watch the entirety of the video, you're gonna have a lot of questions later. Now, I'm not gonna say you're not still gonna have questions when I'm done, and that's great. But I ask you to watch the video, and then I hope it'll answer a lot of your questions. Sorry it's so long, but it's full of so much relevant information that it had to be lengthy, all right? Thank you for watching ahead of time, and I'll look forward to answering any more questions that you may have in the comments, all right? Morning, folks. Lester here, and I am waking up this morning over here at the J&L Ranch property. It's early-ish, just after 8. I got my girl Chrissy with me. Oh, girl. I know. I got my girl Chrissy and my cup of coffee. Listen, I want to talk to you this morning about the plans for this property and to get your thoughts on everything. So I'll get up off this chair, take my cup of coffee with me. Chrissy, come on. Let's go walk around and talk to you all about what I think the plans are going to be, and get your thoughts on it. Well, number one, while we're here at this spot, there's a couple of these trees here that can't stay. I know we love this cluster of trees, this little grove, we call it. This pine tree there in front of me is dead. That has to be cut out. And then that little one straight ahead over there, it's alive, but it has a huge knot at the bottom of it. I mean, where it doesn't have a lot of life left in it. So what we're going to probably do is have to have a tree company come and cut those two out. We're going to take that old truck and we're going to have it towed. We will have the kind of a tow truck that has a flatbed. We can load it up, take it back over to Longhorn Lester's where we can work on it. We don't have a place here to work on it. Over there we have all of our tools, we have electricity, we have all that we need to park it right up next to the shop, or either in the shop where Jamie can literally spend time, strip it down, work on it, get it all set up the way she wants it. Put a bed onto the back of it, and then she can use it for decorative things for different times of the year. We've talked about that already. So, of course, we can bring it back once it's done. It'll have to be brought back in a wrecker. And our plans are to set it alongside the road, not here along this grove of trees. We'll talk more about this pasture. Well, heck, you know what? Let's just talk about this pasture here now. Before we could ever have cows here, it would require an extensive amount of fencing, especially along, well, two sides of the property, really. Down by the road, you would never want your cows with the kind of fencing they have now. And then along this far stretch over here, the fencing that the neighbor has it's just been scrapped together. So there's actually so much fencing that has to be done over on this particular 13 acres that we've decided to go ahead and leave this alone for now and let this be our hayfield. So what we will do is just bypass our fencing here for now, keep the cows off of it. We will come by and fertilize it in early spring, and then we will let this be our hayfield for this first year for sure. So I guess I answered that question about this pasture. So this 13 acres will be our 13-acre hayfield. How much grass will it produce? That really depends on how much rain we get over the course of the summer. We have always got about 40 rolls total on the two cuttings over at I'm a Survivor. Sometimes a few more, some years a few less. But 40 rolls is what we normally have gone through, and that offers us enough hay. We will still cut the hay at I'm a Survivor as long as Joanne allows us to. We're not going to ever turn that hay down, but we do know our days over there as far as cutting that hay is limited. They're numbered. Those days are numbered. But we will use this 13-acre pasture. Hopefully we get enough rain to get 2 good cuttings off of it. If we can fertilize it, we're hoping that it will give us about the same amount of hay as what I'm a Survivor does. Now, in saying so, we will have to buy us or build us either containers like that one over there to store our hay, or either build some kind of a barn, a hay barn. And that will all be in the works for this next year. We have about a year to think about all of that. All right. All right. We already have, let's go ahead and walk to the back and we'll talk about these 2 pastures here. All right, so everyone knows, we've talked about it so many times, that if you don't do pasture rotation, if you're unable to do pasture rotations, you can average 1 cow per acre based on if you have enough adequate grass in your pastures, in your paddocks. And over here, we have approximately 25 acres of good grass, so which means we could run up to 25 cows over here on the back half of the property. Now, I don't foresee us ever having 25 head of cows. I think that our goal is to be at about 20 here on these properties. So we will have enough pasture here in the back to run cows just in the back to keep them off the road for as long as we need to. And like I said, I think we can have up to about 20 cows potentially without having any kind of a shortage of grass. Both of these back pastures have already been fenced. We are very we're very comfortable and confident in what we have over here with our fencing. We haven't had any issues over the last month or so. Our cows have been here, and so we're feeling really good about what we have going back here already. So there's not a lot to focus on with all of this. There is a pond. Like I said, there's great fencing all the way around, nice, high, strong fencing all the way around. And so for the back 25 acres, I think that we're good to continue raising our cows. And like I said, we will try to get a herd up to about 20, maybe a few more, but we're not going to push it. All right. So that's the deal on the back property. We already have a semi-decent shelter. Now, this barn does not really, It's not made to hold 20 head of cows. Cows will not always squeeze in that close with each other. So we will eventually want some additional shelter. Cows don't need it, but we just like to have it, you know, available. We have enough shade trees, and most of the time your cows will go and prefer not to be in a shelter unless the weather's extreme. Oh no. Guys, forgive me. I'm gonna have to go do a Longhorn rescue. Caught on video. Lord, it's Marilyn again. She is the worst about this. Don't worry, I'm taking y'all with me. Now, Pearl's gonna try to help her. Thank you, Pearl. You did a good job there, baby. Pearl pushed her to the side. Did y'all see what Pearl did? Pearl helped Marilyn free herself from the confines of that hay ring. Now, guys, before you get angry, look real careful. That hay ring is made for Longhorns. That hay ring is made for Longhorns. I'm not concerned about that hay ring being a death trap for Longhorns. The rings around it are made for cows with longer horns. That's why I've left it out there. Let's go look at it real fast. But not all Longhorns are created equal. And Marilyn there has a darn, oh, Lester Morrow. Not while I'm making a video. Not while I'm making a video. I am not going to crawl under, y'all. Lord have mercy. This would have never happened had I not been making the video. Hey, sweetie, I would have come right through this gate if I weren't videoing. So I want to show you real fast while I'm talking about it. This particular hay ring is the kind they make for Longhorns. Problem is you can't buy them around here. They don't sell them at Tractor Supply. You have to end up ordering them, and I'm just not down for paying all the shipping. But these rings here, they have a very wide head on them, so your cows can put their heads in and get them back out easy enough without getting stuck. Marilyn, oh, Ruby, why did you do that to me? Okay. Good morning. Hi. Hello, buddy. All right, friends. So what we're going to talk about now is this front pasture. This is the one that we have little Gary on now, but it's also the pasture that I trust the least as far as holding cows in. Let me close this gate. Give me a second. All right, so now we're going to talk about this front pasture over here. This is the front right side of our property. Well, it depends on which way you're facing. It's a 12-acre pasture, but we don't, and we're not going to consider it being a full 12 acres because as it slopes downhill close to the tree line, a lot of this over here is in a floodplain. And so we do know that when it rains and you get significant rain, this gets very wet and it does hold water. So we can really only consider this maybe about 10 acres. In saying so, this is going to be the 10 acres we're going to focus on the most over the next couple of months in refencing. And when I say refencing, we're going to build the nice, tall, strong fence. And guys, this is where we're probably going to keep our bulls. We will probably keep our bulls and maybe our calves that are being weaned over in this pasture up along the front. As of right now, it's not ready because it's the fencing over here, as you know, is very low. I don't even know how they ever kept cows in here before. We want to go by and rework the entire front fence along the highway. It has an amazing pond, but this fencing along this entire far stretch it's in such bad shape that we don't trust it for anything. So what I'm going to show you right now is our plan for how we're going to come by and do the fencing. It's going to actually cut off a lot of my property. I'm going to literally cut off a lot of my own property with my new fencing. It'll still be mine. It's still going to be a part of the property. It's not going to change, but I don't see why I would run a fence right down through the middle of a floodplain. All right, so as we get up to the front corner of the property, this gets pretty sloppy. Now, water stands here pretty much year round. We haven't had any significant rain in a while, and yet this has been muddy from the first time that I've seen it. And so we don't really need our cows hanging out and stuff like this or drinking from stuff like this. So what we're gonna probably do is from that long stretch over there, at some point, we're gonna go ahead and angle ourselves off again to avoid all of this. I'm thinking we'll cut all this small stuff down from this grove of trees. It doesn't need to be here anyway. We'll just come by and nip all this down, take the tractor, push it out of the way, and we'll probably just kind of bypass around through here. A lot of y'all may be saying, Lester, just fill it in. You could just fill it in very easily, but easier said than done because water is going to still flow through here. This is the lowest part from that flowing water, and I don't know exactly how it's going to affect us if we try to change the flow of that water. You don't want to make things worse. So we'll allow water to flow through here. I'll just cut off this part of real estate. Listen, we don't need this anyway. I mean, with having as many acres, you don't need to worry about a place like this where grass is never going to really grow anywho. We do not want to be putting fencing down through stuff like this. The former owner did. It was important enough to him to make sure that his entire property was outlined the way the survey map runs. But to me, I'd rather go ahead and just bypass this entire area. That's that rest stop over there anyway. We don't need our cows along this fence. I'm going to bypass the whole thing, which will bypass all of this grove of trees here, and we're going to come right on alongside the Slow Creek area and cut right back into the corner, the official corner of our property, which, as you can see, I'll try to zoom in and you can see the orange flags there. So, all right, well, now you know. So I know the question that you all have. I do. I know exactly what you're all asking right now. You're saying, Lester, back up a minute. What's that thing I keep hearing about, bulls again? Okay, well, guys, remember, we've already talked about this once. We don't know exactly how long it's going to take us to be able to get the right kind of grass at the Longhorn Lester property. We also have horses that we have to at some point include in the mix. Jamie loves her horses. She loves her little donkeys and her donkey poodle, Indy. So we need to at some point consider Jamie's thoughts in all of this and how she's going to be able to manage and take care of her animals. So it's very possible, oh boy, here we go. It is very possible that at some point we may have to try to find a way to get our beloved Tex over here. And if we do that, I say again, if we're able to do that, look how beautiful that pond is. It's just so darn crystal clear. If we are able to get Tex over here, then as scary as it sounds right now, this would have to be the pasture where he and Waylon would live. Now, you're saying, wait a minute, hold on. Lester, how's that gonna work? Aren't they gonna fight? We've already learned that our bulls will not fight if they are in fact separated by away from the females. And so that's a good thing. Lester, isn't there a threat of Tex getting out? Not if you have the right fencing, and not if there's not a reason for him to get out. He's not going to want to get out of a big, strong, solid 5-foot fence where there's no girls. Tex and Waylon, much like a lot of men that you may know, they live for the ladies. And so the only fence they're going to want to push through would be a fence that offers them lady friends. All right? Yes, a fence that offers them lady friends. And this fencing will all be replaced with a nice, big, solid fence. The fencing along that will be replaced as well. And so the last stretch will be that back stretch, which will be where all the ladies are at. Tex and Waylon will be able to live here in this front pasture. They'll have about 10 acres. They will share this pasture on occasion with calves, babies who are being weaned. Also young bulls that will eventually be traded or sold. And that is pretty much how our operations here are going to run. All right, so the last part of this video I want to talk about is we're going to call it the mating process. Guys, if you want to be responsible with your mating and with the times of year that your cows have their calves and your population control, and number one is the fact that you don't want to have too much inline breeding happening, you have to be able to manage all of those things. And so what we're going to do is utilize the lot. Now it's going to require some work. It is going to require some work, but we're going to utilize our lot to move our bulls and whichever females we want to have mated with. Does that make sense to y'all? If we have a female who we want, or if it's time to, all right, this is always hard to talk about. There's a whole lot of people who get what I'm saying without me saying it. But for those of you who don't, even though you will have the Tex and the Wayland ladies running together, right? They will all run together across this beautiful 25 acres. They will all eat together, and they'll drink together, and they will sleep together, and they will be so happy. The bulls, being Wayland and Tex, will be separated. Now they will be close enough through a fence line to where they can see their sweet girls. They just can't get sweet with them, if you know what I mean. When we are ready, when we want to responsibly work with adding a few cows to our herd, what we will do is we will bring those females, we will choose the females, and we will choose the bull and bring them into the lot. And they will spend a couple of days here, probably more like 5 minutes, okay, to be honest. They'll probably spend about 5 minutes right here, and all of that will happen right here in the confines of the lot. Once that is finished, the bull will go back to his pasture, happy with a smile on his face, probably to take a nap. And the female will join her herd. She'll take the walk of shame back to the herd. And everybody, don't even make that face, because you've all been there. Every man has been there and every woman has been there. Don't even lie, okay? So I'm just saying, this is going to be where we're going to manage our herd. This is what every responsible and every professional farmer and rancher does. So if you kind of have the family unit in mind and you want to see Tex walking alongside his family and Wayland grazing alongside his family the way kind of you do now, I know that's a beautiful thought and it's sweet and it makes you feel warm. But guys, it's not very responsible in the overall scheme of things, because the way it is now, you can't control anything. It kind of just all happens naturally. And that's not responsible on our part, and it's not responsible for our future herd and for what's going to eventually be my source of income once social media plays out. So once again, as hard as it is to talk about, we will eventually have Tex and Wayland. And trust me, y'all, I love those bulls. Tex, Wayland, they're such a huge part of me, and they will be safe here. I would never bring them here if I did not know for a fact that they were going to be safe. Now, we'll deal later with how we're going to load Tex, and all of that mess we'll deal with later. It's not going to be anytime soon, but at least you kind of have an idea now of what our plan is. I would love to hear your thoughts on everything. This fence over here will have to also be replaced. A little 3.5 foot tall fence is not going to keep anybody apart when they get the loving filling. So there's a lot of work to be done. What I'm happy about is that all of this is complete. I don't have to worry about any of this. They have fresh water, they have pond water, they have plenty of grass, they have We've planted ryegrass for the wintertime. These guys over here are great. There will have to be some work done over here. We'll have to also take care of getting little Gary castrated whenever he gets healthy enough for that. And so we're looking really good, y'all. We're so blessed to have this property. There are some things that have to be done. It's not going to fix itself. So those kind of things take money and they take time. And so we'll deal with that in pieces like we've always done. And we will create a really beautiful thing here. And as hard as it may be for you to hear some of these details now, I do believe that you will one day look back. You will. One day you will look back and you will be proud that you were a part of it, that you stuck with us, and that even though it's kind of hard to talk about and to acknowledge, we did the right thing. We did do the right thing. All right, well, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next video.
Don't let your troubles fester. Come watch Longhorn Lester.
Yeah, something like that.